They're not stations, they're cathedrals of steel and glass, monuments to ambition, artistry, and empire. These are the places where journeys began, wars were fought, and lovers said goodbye beneath vaulted ceilings. But hidden beneath their beauty lie secrets, tunnels, shelters, and stories that shaped Europe itself. Welcome to the world's grandest waiting rooms, where architecture, history, and human drama collide. Before we step inside these magnificent structures, let me paint you a picture of what train stations meant in the 19th century. When the first railways were built, nobody knew what a train station should look like. There was no precedent, no architectural tradition, so engineers and architects looked to the grandest buildings they knew, cathedrals, palaces, Roman baths, and they built train stations that rivaled them all. But these weren't just vanity projects. Train stations were the most important buildings in any city. They were where travelers arrived, where goods were shipped, where soldiers departed for war, where lovers said goodbye. They were the beating heart of urban life, and the cities that built the grandest stations were declaring to the world that they mattered, that they were modern, that they were powerful. Today, many of these stations are still standing, still functioning, still moving millions of passengers every year, but they're also time capsules, architectural treasures that tell the story of Europe's transformation from a collection of rival empires to an integrated continent. And the stories hidden within their walls? They're absolutely fascinating. But here's the twist. Some of the most impressive features of these stations are the ones you'll never see. The underground levels, the secret passages, the infrastructure hidden beneath the marble floors and soaring ceilings. Because what makes these stations truly remarkable isn't just what's visible, it's what's hidden. Let's start with the busiest train station in Europe, Gare du Nord in Paris. Over 700,000 passengers pass through this station every single day. That's more than 250 million people a year. It's not just the busiest station in Europe. It's one of the busiest in the world. But Gare du Nord wasn't always this massive. The original station, built in 1846, was a modest affair. Too modest. Within 15 years, it was overwhelmed by traffic. So in 1861, architect Jacques Hittorf was commissioned to build something grander. Much grander. What Hittorf created was a masterpiece of Second Empire architecture. The facade is dominated by 23 statues, each representing a destination served by the railway. You've got statues of women personifying cities like London, Berlin, Vienna, and Amsterdam. It was a bold statement. Paris wasn't just connected to these cities. Paris was the center of the world, and these cities were paying tribute. Inside, the station is even more impressive. The main hall features a massive iron and glass roof, spanning over 600 feet. When it was built, this was cutting-edge technology. Iron construction was still relatively new, and the ability to create such vast, column-free spaces was revolutionary. The natural light flooding through the glass roof made the station feel open and airy, despite the thousands of people moving through it. But here's what most visitors don't know. Beneath Gare du Nord lies a hidden world, multiple levels of tunnels, storage areas, and infrastructure that keep the station running. During World War II, parts of these underground spaces were used as bomb shelters, and during the Cold War, there were rumors of secret government bunkers, though those have never been confirmed. Today, Gare du Nord is undergoing a massive renovation. The station needs to handle even more passengers as Eurostar expands service and new high-speed lines open. But the challenge is preserving the historic architecture while modernizing the infrastructure. It's like performing surgery on a 160-year-old patient who can't stop working. Now let's head to London, because if Paris has Gare du Nord, London has St. Pancras International, and this station has one of the most dramatic comeback stories in railway history. St. Pancras opened in 1868, and it was immediately recognized as an architectural triumph. The station was designed by William Henry Barlow, and the train shed he created was the largest single-span structure in the world at the time. The roof spans 240 feet without a single supporting column. It's a cathedral of iron and glass. But the real star of St. Pancras is the Midland Grand Hotel. the Gothic revival masterpiece that forms the station's facade. Designed by George Gilbert Scott, this building is pure Victorian excess. Pointed arches, elaborate brickwork, soaring towers. It looks more like a palace than a train station. For decades, St. Pancras was one of London's busiest stations, but by the 1960s it had fallen on hard times. The hotel closed in 1935 and was used as railway offices. The building deteriorated, and in the 1960s there were serious plans to demolish the entire station and replace it with something modern. Thankfully, preservationists fought back. The station was saved, but it languished for decades. Then came the Channel Tunnel. When Eurostar needed a London terminus, St. Pancras was chosen, and suddenly this forgotten Victorian relic became the gateway to Europe. The renovation, completed in 2007, was extraordinary. The train shed was extended, the platforms were lowered to accommodate longer trains, and the Midland Grand Hotel was restored and reopened as a luxury hotel. Today, St. Pancras is one of the most beautiful stations in the world, blending Victorian grandeur with 21st century functionality. But here's a secret. Beneath St. Pancras lies the Undercroft, a vast basement area with Gothic arches that was originally used to store beer barrels from Burton-on-Trent. Today, it's been converted into shops and restaurants, but the Victorian brickwork is still visible. It's like stepping into a medieval crypt, except you're 40 feet below a modern train station. Let's cross the channel and head to Belgium. Because Antwerp Central Station is often called the most beautiful train station in the world, and once you see it, you'll understand why. Antwerp Central opened in 1905 and it's a riot of architectural styles. The facade is neo-Baroque, with a massive dome that dominates the city skyline. Inside, the main hall is even more extravagant. Marble columns, ornate chandeliers, a grand staircase that looks like it belongs in an opera house, not a train station. But the real genius of Antwerp Central is what you can't see from the main hall. The station is built on multiple levels. The original platforms are at street level, but in 2007, 2 additional levels were added underground to accommodate high-speed trains. This required excavating beneath the historic station without damaging the structure above. It was an engineering nightmare, but they pulled it off. Today, Antwerp Central serves both local commuter trains and high-speed services to Paris, Amsterdam, and beyond. It's a perfect example of how historic stations can be adapted for modern use without sacrificing their architectural heritage. Now let's talk about a station that was literally blown apart and rebuilt from the ashes. Dresden Hauptbahnhof in Germany. Dresden's main station opened in 1898, a grand neo-Renaissance structure that served as the gateway to one of Germany's most beautiful cities. But on February 13, 1945, Dresden was devastated by Allied bombing. The city was nearly destroyed, and the train station was heavily damaged. After the war, Dresden found itself in East Germany, behind the Iron Curtain. The station was rebuilt, but in the utilitarian Soviet style. The ornate details were gone, replaced by concrete and functionality. For 45 years, Dresden Hauptbahnhof was a shadow of its former self. Then came reunification, and Dresden decided to reclaim its heritage. The station underwent a massive renovation in the 2000s, restoring many of the original architectural features while modernizing the infrastructure. Today, Dresden Hauptbahnhof is once again a beautiful station, a symbol of the city's resilience and rebirth. But let's head to Berlin, because Berlin Hauptbahnhof is the opposite of Dresden. It's not a restored historic station, it's a completely modern structure, but it's built on layers of history that tell the story of Berlin itself. Berlin Hauptbahnhof opened in 2006, replacing several older stations. It's a massive glass and steel structure, built on 2 levels. The upper level serves east-west trains. The lower level serves north-south trains. It's the largest crossing station in Europe, and it's an architectural marvel. But here's what makes it fascinating. The station is built on the site of the old Lehrter Bahnhof, which was destroyed in World War II. And beneath the modern station lie the remains of even older infrastructure. Tunnels from the 1930s, bunkers from the war, sections of the Berlin Wall. During construction, engineers encountered remains of older tunnels and wartime infrastructure beneath the site, a reminder that Berlin's central station sits on top of layers of 20th century history. Across Berlin, similar underground passages were used as bunkers and even for escape attempts during the Cold War, some of which you can still visit on guided tours today. Now let's head south to Vienna, because Vienna has not one but several historic train stations, each with its own story. Vienna's rail network has a dark chapter too. Many Jewish deportations during World War II left from Vienna's Aspangbahnhof. The later Südbahnhof, which once stood where Wien Hauptbahnhof is today, was demolished in the 2000s to make way for the modern through station. After the war, the Südbahnhof continued to operate, but it was always haunted by its past. In 2009, the decision was made to demolish the old station and build a completely new one. Wien Hauptbahnhof opened in 2014, a modern, efficient station with no trace of the old structure. But Vienna's most beautiful historic station is Wien Westbahnhof, the Western Station. Built in 1858, it's a more modest structure than some of the grand stations we've discussed, but it has a charm all its own. The station has been renovated multiple times, but it retains much of its 19th century character. And then there's the Stadtbahn stations, designed by Otto Wagner in the early 1900s. These Art Nouveau masterpieces were built for Vienna's urban railway system. They're small, elegant structures with green copper roofs and ornate details. Several are still in use today, and they're considered some of the finest examples of Art Nouveau architecture in Europe. Let's head to Spain, because Madrid's Atocha station is unlike any other station in Europe. Why? Because it has a tropical garden inside. Atocha opened in 1851, but the current structure dates from 1892. It's a beautiful iron and glass train shed, similar to St. Pancras or Gare du Nord. But in the 1980s, when a new high-speed terminal was built adjacent to the old station, the question arose, what do we do with the old train shed? The answer was brilliant: convert it into a tropical garden. Today, the old Atocha train shed is filled with palm trees, tropical plants, and even a pond with turtles. It's a stunning space, and it serves as the entrance to the modern station. Passengers walk through a jungle to catch their trains. But Atocha also has a somber history. On March 11th, 2004, terrorists bombed 4 commuter trains near the station, killing 193 people. A memorial to the 2004 attacks stands at Atocha, commemorating the 193 people who were killed and the thousands injured. Now let's talk about a station that's more fortress than train station. Milano Centrale in Milan, Italy. Milano Centrale opened in 1931 during Mussolini's fascist regime, and it shows. The station is massive, imposing, and designed to intimidate. The facade is a mix of Art Deco and fascist architecture, with huge stone blocks and monumental sculptures. Inside, the main hall is even more overwhelming: soaring ceilings, massive columns. It feels more like a temple than a train station. But here's what's interesting. Despite its fascist origins, Milano Centrale has become beloved by Milanese. It's been featured in countless films. It's a meeting point, a landmark, and in recent years it's been renovated and modernized while preserving its historic character. The station also has secrets. Beneath Milano Centrale lies one of Milan's largest wartime bunkers, built as an air raid shelter during World War II and largely forgotten for decades. There's also the infamous hidden platform 21, Binario 21, where Jews and other prisoners were loaded onto trains for deportation. Today, it's a powerful Holocaust memorial open to visitors. Let's head north to Amsterdam, because Amsterdam Centraal is built on an artificial island, and its construction changed the city forever. Before Amsterdam Centraal was built in 1889, Amsterdam was a city of canals, with direct access to the sea. But the station was built on 3 artificial islands in the IJ harbor, effectively cutting the city off from the water. It was controversial at the time, and some Amsterdammers still resent it. But the station itself is beautiful. Designed by Pierre Cuypers, the same architect who designed the Rijksmuseum, it's a Gothic revival masterpiece with red brick and ornate details. The station has 2 main facades, one facing the city and one facing the water, because it was designed to be viewed from both sides. Today, Amsterdam Centraal is one of the busiest stations in Europe, serving over 200,000 passengers a day. It's been renovated multiple times, but the historic facade remains unchanged. And beneath the station lies a complex network of tunnels, including a network of tunnels under the station, including pedestrian routes that link the main hall to the IJ waterfront and ferries toward Amsterdam Noord. So, what's the future of these historic stations? Because they face real challenges. Passenger numbers are growing, trains are getting longer and faster, and modern accessibility standards require elevators, escalators, and wider platforms. The challenge is adapting these 19th century structures for 21st century needs without destroying what makes them special. And across Europe, engineers and architects are finding creative solutions, underground expansions, glass additions that complement historic facades, modern technology hidden behind period details. The key is recognizing that these stations are more than just infrastructure. They're cultural treasures, they're part of our shared heritage, and they deserve to be preserved, not just as museums, but as living, working spaces. Because here's the thing, when you walk through Gare du Nord or St. Pancras or Milano Centrale, you're not just catching a train. You're walking through history, you're experiencing architecture that was designed to inspire, to impress, to remind you that travel is more than just getting from point A to point B. It's an adventure, an experience, a journey. And that's something we've lost in the age of airports and highways. Modern transportation is efficient, but it's soulless. These historic train stations remind us that travel can be beautiful, that infrastructure can be art, that the journey matters as much as the destination. So here's what I want you to do. Next time you're in Europe, don't just rush through these stations. Stop, look up, appreciate the architecture, explore the hidden corners, read the plaques, learn the history, because these buildings have stories to tell and they're worth listening to. What's the most beautiful train station you've ever visited? Have you walked through the tropical garden at Atocha, marveled at the dome of Antwerp Central, or discovered a hidden gem I didn't mention? Drop your answer in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this architectural journey through Europe's greatest train stations, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We've got more incredible stories of engineering and history coming your way. Until next time, keep exploring the spaces between the tracks.